What's up, y'all? So I'm just following up on this whole Tasha K, Cardi B fiasco, and I was looking on my page, and somebody was like, they said she told us she put everything in her mama name so she wouldn't have to pay the money. And I was actually looking from that for that comment on my page. It was from Jane Doe, but I can't find it. I found a lot of other comments from Jane Doe on my page for that Cardi B Tasha K video, the latest one, but I couldn't find that one particular comment. So I don't know if Jane Doe deleted the comment, but I'll just read it to you again because I was able to find it on my phone, but I'm not able to find it on the actual web page when I go to YouTube on my phone on the computer. But she basically, Jane Doe says she told us she gave her money to her family to hide it off so she wouldn't be in her name, so she don't have to pay Cardi B, right? And that just got my mind to spinning. You know what I mean? I got to thinking, what if Tasha K got the money, she just don't want to pay it? You know what I mean? What if she got it and she just don't want to pay it? And I just started, searching the internet, and sure enough, I find this article. Tasha K denies moving to Africa to avoid paying Cardi B 4 million defamation award. And I'm thinking, damn, what if this shit is true? What if this shit is true? Now, of course, everything in this video is alleged. I don't know what Tasha K got. I don't know how much money she makes. And people are saying that she didn't pay her taxes. I don't know if that's true. You know what I mean? I don't know if she paid her taxes or not, but that's what people keep saying. But to be honest with you, you really don't have any proof that she didn't pay her taxes. If you do, put it in the comments below. But everything that I found were just rumors, right? And you know how that goes, right? When you assume, or when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. But when you believe rumors, you just make an ass out of yourself, because a lot of times that stuff turn out not to be true. But that's the rumor, that she hadn't paid her taxes, right? But I don't know if that's true or not, right? And I'll tell you what, if it is true, she in for a world of hurt, because Uncle Sam do not play. I'll tell you that shit right up off the bat. Uncle Sam do not play. But you know what? This video isn't really about taxes. This is about whether or not she has the money and she decided not to pay, right? And again, I don't know what the fuck she got. So this video is really being made in theory, and we're just gonna call this a what if. Not to saying it's the reality, but this is a fantasy scenario where she has the money and she just like, fuck you, I ain't paying. Kiss my black ass. Right? And with that in mind, if we go to YouTube, and I'm just guessing here, I don't know if any of these conclusions that I'm about to come to are true. Last thing I need is for Tasha K to come try to sue me to get my little pennies to pay Cardi B, because let me tell you, if you sue me, it's awesome. You're gonna have to stand in line. That's all I'm gonna tell you, because there's a couple people already trying to get in my pockets. So, and then what you get ain't gonna be nowhere near enough to pay Cardi B. So don't even waste your time with that shit. Let me see here, Tasha K. Because one thing I noticed on her page. Is that, she did all these videos, and I'm guessing, I don't know, but I'm guessing these videos are actually done from Africa. Like the last 2, 3, 4 videos were done when she's in Africa. Now, again, I don't know if it's true or not. I'm just speculating here based on how she looks, and I'm looking at the background, and it looks like they were all made in the past 2 days, right? But if we go back to this article, basically it says gossiper vlogger Tasha K says she has not moved to Africa despite rumors that she decamped to the continent to avoid paying, a $4 million defamation judgment to Cardi B. I promise you, and this is a quote, I promise you there is nothing to report here. I'm enjoying my trip abroad. She told the Daily Beast via Twitter on Thursday, adding the emoji clicking champagne glasses. And then the YouTuber, whose real name is Tasha K, has toyed around with the reports nonetheless. Life in Africa is turning out to, quote, life in Africa is turning out to be exactly what I needed, a fresh start. Now, who says that, right? Because this is the type of shit that makes you think that she's going to move to Africa, because if, or she's going to move abroad, right? Because if she says a fresh start, that's not some shit you say on vacation. You would probably, if you going on vacation, you probably say, man, this is a nice reboot, or this is a nice way to to erase my memory or something. You don't say fresh start. Fresh start implies you're starting over. And if you're starting over, where are you starting from? If you're in Africa and you're starting over, you're going to assume a person's starting over in Africa. But again, I'm just piecing this shit together, and you got to keep in mind, sometimes people say things to mislead you and throw you off, right? And then she wrote in Instagram caption earlier this week alongside a photo of her wearing a hijab. The post has a location tag, Morocco. Now, Morocco is an interesting place, and I'll tell you why. Let me show you why. So, and this is all my opinion, my line of thinking. It doesn't mean that, any of the conclusions that I'm going to come to, um, basically is reality, right? So here's Morocco. Now, here's an interesting thing. Here's Morocco. Morocco is here, right? And this is very important when I get towards the end of this video. Morocco is here, which is in Africa, give it. But it is pretty much, in my opinion, the gateway to Europe, right? So it's the European gateway to Africa, and Africa gateway to Europe, right? One of them, right? You could probably say Cairo, Egypt, is probably another gateway, right? Because you go from Cairo, Jordan, Syria, Turkey, Bulgaria, Georgia, and you're in mostly Eastern European. But Morocco is for the most part one of the gateways to Europe, in terms of the western part, right? So, and this is interesting. This is interesting. I'm bringing this up for a reason, because if you live, you can. So think of it like living, and if you live in these areas, or you have lived in these areas, check me on this. Check me on this, and make sure I'm on point. What I'm saying makes sense. But if you live in Morocco, right, and you have passports and you have money, then to be honest with you, it's almost like living in Chicago and going to, let's say, Indiana or Wisconsin or something like that. The only difference is you're just going to take a quick boat ride. I think a boat ride from Morocco to Spain is like 45 minutes, right? So it's a quick trip, right? So you could get an address in Morocco and still be living in fucking France somewhere, right? Which is much further way out. But you guys get where I'm going with this. Just because you're in Morocco doesn't mean you necessarily have to stay in Morocco. I think, people with money who want that African experience, I'm guessing that, they're thinking, okay, well, I'll have a spot in Morocco, but on the same token, I can still live in France. I can be in, two places at once, right? Or I can be in Spain. Spain is probably the most logical uh, place, right? And then the cost of living in Spain is pretty low, because they just went through a bankruptcy where they had to basically give up everything. I think this was like 5 or 6 years ago. right? So if you got money, let me make sure let me check myself on this. Um, how far will the US dollar get you in Spain? Let's see. I could be wrong. I don't know. The euro hit parity with the US dollar for the first time since 20. Okay, so I'm wrong. So I'm fucking wrong. I don't know. So I'm wrong. Um, but we're talking about the euro. Spain. I don't know if Spain uses the euro. What currency? Oh, all right. So Spain uses the euro. All I know is that they actually went through bankruptcy some time ago, and I think they had some funky things going on, and they had to give up a lot of stuff. I think they actually got on the euro. But anyway, my line of thinking is that if you got money, then you could, live in Spain and be in Morocco and just, live the vida loca, as they say, right? Uh, but anyway, so getting back to, this fantasy video that I'm doing, what if Tasha K got the money and she like, bitch, I ain't paying you shit. You can kiss my motherfucking black ass. I ain't giving you a dime. What if that's her mindset? You know, um, it could be possible. It could be possible, and it's human nature to, like, honestly, I would not have done what Tasha K did, and I think personally, I think she just seemed a little too naive about the whole situation. On one hand, it's you can look at what she did as wrong and she knew it was wrong, right? Dragging somebody's name through the mud and basically destroying their image, right? Because that's really what she did, right? So she did what you can look at it from the perspective that she what she did was wrong and she knew that shit was wrong, and she just didn't give a fuck. But the only problem with that line of thinking is that someone with common sense is not going to do that because they know that they can be sued, right? So I'm thinking she didn't realize what she was doing was wrong and that she could be sued. Because if she knew that, she wouldn't have did it. I know better. I ain't finna get on the internet and drag. And I knew this before I even started getting into, law and reading up on stuff like this. You know damn well you can't get on the internet and start dragging people's name through the mud. But, you see people every day and, they carry themselves a certain way. And you ask yourself, do they just not know you shouldn't do that, or you ought not do that, or you can't do that? Or do they know and just don't give a fuck? you know, because I think there is a difference. There is a difference between somebody who just don't give a fuck and somebody who basically just don't know. They just haven't reached a level of maturity to understand. Now you don't do this. Or maybe they didn't have at home training, or that one grandma to sit down to them and just tell them simple shit. Like, simple things my grandma told me was, and that was a whole lot of stuff she told me. Some of the stuff I remembered and some of the stuff I paid attention to, some I didn't. But, for example, she would always tell me, be careful how you treat people. And, my grandmother came from slavery, probably like your grandmothers did too, if you over 40, right? But she told me, um, be careful how you treat people because you never know whose hand you may have to receive water from. And when when she's telling you that shit, that's a slave warning. You know what I mean? You gotta receive water from somebody's hands. That's some shit that come out of the a slavery manual. You know what I mean? You don't know how your situation gonna end up, and you got to be careful how you deal with people because you never know who you're gonna need. And I've always remembered that about my grandma. That one simple story stuck with me the most. There's other things that stuck with me, but that's one that stuck with me. But some people didn't have grandmas or elders to sit down and tell them simple shit like that. So the fact that I wouldn't do something like this is probably more to the credit of having grandma sit me down and just give you general wisdom on what to do and what not to do in life, so you know you don't have any business putting someone else's business out in the street like that. So even if what she was saying about Cardi B is true, it still ain't your business to put that shit out in the street like that, right? Now, if it's already out there, that's a totally different story. You know what I mean? But if I'm the only person, if no one else has put it out there, and I'm not gonna be the guy that says, "Well, fuck it, I'm gonna go ahead. This seems like a really good story. I'm gonna put it out there on the internet." I'm not gonna do that, right? And I guess there's some boundaries of being a reporter, which I am not. I'm just blogging. I'm just some guy who is just on the internet talking about law and just reading shit and just putting it out there, right? But if I was a reporter, I would wonder if there would be boundaries for a reporter to put certain things out there, and because a reporter probably don't have no boundaries, or their code wouldn't allow them to have any boundaries to put something out there. If they have information on you and you're a public figure, then they're gonna put it out there. That's just plain and simple, because that's gonna be cash money, and they got to get paid, and they gotta prove their existence to the newspaper they're working to, prove their value, and they're gonna type a nice juicy ass story up and put it out there on your ass, right? But if you're a private citizen, I don't think that they can actually put that information out there. I don't know. But anyway, just getting off on a tangent here. But my whole thing is, I don't think Tasha K understood that she shouldn't do this. And then when she got to the point where she understood that she couldn't do this, she's just like, well, fuck it, it's done, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm just making up too many excuses for Tasha K. So you let me know in the comments whether you think she knew and just didn't give a fuck, or she just simply didn't know and she just kind of put it out there, and then shit escalated and she just didn't know how to turn back. She couldn't find a way back, or she wouldn't know how to de-escalate the situation and put a lid on the shit. Um, but what if Tasha K has the money? Because I think she has the money. I think she got it, to be honest with you. Because I think I was watching a video on the lead attorney, and the lead attorney was talking about how he made, I think, don't quote me, I'm operating off memory, but it was like $50,000 from one video. And I'm like, shit, if you make $50,000, I don't know if it was from one video or if it was for that month, what it was, but it was 50,000. Even if you make it 50,000 a month, how many months do you need for that shit to add up to $1 million? I'm horrible with math, so I'm not even gonna actually try to calculate that shit. But you get what I'm saying. And Tasha's been in this game for a while, so I kind of believe Tasha K got that shit, right? So that prompted me, that along with the fact that someone else came to my page and they made that comment that, she has it, she's just putting shit in her family name. That made me think, and I'm like, damn, this is a good video topic. So what if she has it and doesn't want to pay it? Now, I'm making this shit absolutely clear. I'm not even alleging that she has it. This is just a straight, totally fantasy video. What if she has it and just don't want to pay it? She's just like, bitch, fuck you. I ain't giving you shit. And to me, this is just kind of something that just kind of fits in her personality. It seems like something she would do, because she would not have had that grandma to sit down with her and tell her basic stuff that you would find in the Bible and things of that nature. Now, me being African American, most of my family is, or all my family is from the South. Well, I can't say all. Most of my family is from the South. And if you're like me, most of your family's from the South too. 9 times out of 10, they had some Christianity, because that was one of the tools that was used during slavery times. But everything in the Bible ain't bad, and I'm not saying everything in the Bible is good. But I'm saying there's some good stuff there. And you can take this stuff one way or the other, right? You can take it one way or the other. But if you go to what is this book of Matthew, verse 40, and it talks about and before I even read this, I'm just going to tell you up front, I am not a devout Christian. If you knew me, you probably call me a heathen. You probably call me anything but a Christian, but I am a Christian. I'm just not a good one. And I don't even know if I should even be calling myself a Christian because I'm so bad, right? But anyway, Matthew verse 40, um, it basically says, and if anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand over your coat as well, right? If we read, actually, it's verse 38. It starts at verse 38. And if we read the entire thing, and I originally read this in the King James version, I was like, God, this shit is just too kind of cryptic. Let me read it in the New International Version. But it basically says, you and I am aware that I'm cursing and reading the Bible at the same time, but at the same time, I wanted to be fluent with this video. I wanted it to be my natural self, or find a natural self, because it's like I just noticed I'm just too uptight, and I grew up cursing, so therefore those are the words that I know best. But sometimes you try to be professional when you're doing videos like this, and it just you come off uptight and you seem uptight, so I'm just trying to loosen up. So, forgive me for cursing and reading this at the same time, right? But it goes on, it says, you have heard that it was said, eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek. And if anyone wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand over your coat as well. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go with them 2 miles. Give to the one who asks you, and do not turn away from the one who wants to borrow from you. Right? So that's, man, this is a heavy, heavy scripture. And I've heard people, and it says it's under eye for an eye, and then there's one, love thy enemies. I'll read this one as well.